Hello and welcome to Geek It Plays Epic Landscape Tutorials. This is episode number 5 of the series, and we're going to learn how to make some materials that we're using in some of the other epic landscapes. Let's begin by clicking on our rock icon to create a rock. Simple enough. And this is just regular rock. Let's go to our sunlight. Let's just move it maybe to the front. There we go. Now let's go to our atmosphere editor and let's tone down the light intensity a little bit. Okay. Now let's go to our render settings and let's hit render to screen and then 640 by 480. And this is the size that we want for now. Here's our rock. Let's double click on it and make sure you're in the advanced material editor, and let's set the rock to the default material. Okay, and let's edit the color map. And we're going to have our rock a lot darker. And then let's add a little bit more greenish subcolor. Let's darken this. Okay. And here we have our material color. Let's change this a little bit more brown. And darken it. And we're going to change this little end right here just a little bit more light. A grayer. Okay. There we go. So now we have the colors of the layers of the rock. Okay. Now let's go to the color production and edit function. And let's delete our filter and our constant. I'm going to add a fractal node and then connect that with a link. And this will be our color distribution, and we're going to increase the roughness and the gain and drop down the largest feature a little bit so we have a nice mix. Now you can see that it's already looking a little bit interesting down here. Now let's click on the bump and let's link that to our fractal node, and that will give us a nice texture. We don't want to go just by the colors, so we're going to add a combiner so it will blend nice. And let's add a noise node, and we'll connect that with a link. And under noise, we're going to switch it to granite, and let's scale it down. Okay, and this gives us a nice fine texture. Let's go under bumps and drop the depth to about 650, and that maybe even lower. Just nice fine texture here. And let's name this up here, and we'll name it underlay rock. Let's add another layer, and we'll just use the default. And let's maximize alpha boost so we can start from scratch. And we're going to edit a color map, and we're going to select a little bit green, and on the other color let's select a brown. Okay, that's kind of like a dying green here. Okay, next let's go to our color production and right click and edit function, and we're just going to delete the constant, and we're going to leave the filter for now. And let's add a fractal node. Let's connect it with a link, and then raise the roughness just slightly. This will give us a better color mixture. And let's go to bump and add a noise node. And let's check rigid and scale it down a little bit, make it more spotted. Let's click on our link and add a combiner, and let's blend that to our color distribution. So this is what we'll have. Okay, let's go over here to the object parametric and scale down quite a bit. You'll see how that changes. Now let's go to transparency and click on global transparency. Let's get rid of our constant and let's add a noise node. And let's scale it down just a titch. Actually, instead of noise, let's add a fractal node and increase the roughness and gain. Okay, so you can see how it's combining very interestingly. Let's go to environment and change the slope range to about 0.23. And then what's happening here is it only applies to the top flat areas of this default layer. Okay, so it's going to look more like moss, so let's name this one moss. Let's preview that and see what we have so far. And one thing about layers is you'll find sometimes if you don't have it set just right, it doesn't apply properly until you actually have all of the settings set properly and with the environment and everything. So let's preview this and see what we have. So here's our rock with moss and color, and let's apply more to the flat areas. Change the scale a little bit. That's good. Let's go to the bumps tab and let's decrease the depth a little bit more here. Let's go to about -50 and decrease the alpha boost. And we're just going to go through and check these settings, see if it's where we want them. Okay, let's turn off the highlights on the moss and maybe increase it on the underlay rock for... Okay, so here we have our rock, and let's rotate our rock and move the camera, and so we'll be looking down at it. Unpreview it, and you can see how the moss is growing on the top here. And this is our rock here, so I think we need to change the color a little bit. Let's go modify that. Click on rock and go to the underlay rock and color, edit the color, and let's select our green and maybe make it a little bit more gray color a little bit. Okay, so now let's preview that and see how that changes things. And you can see how the gray is applied more to the rock. And we still have our moss going on the top. And let's go up to mapping and change it to object standard and change the scale. Let's preview that. And you see we have a very interesting colorful rock that looks eroded. Okay. Now let's call this layer dark rock. Whoops. And then once you've created it, it's nice to go ahead and save that. Now that we're finished with this rock, we're going to just go ahead and learn how to create some snow mountains. We start this process by creating a terrain. We'll zoom out and we'll make them bigger and position them a little bit back from the camera. Let's open a material and let's create the underlayment. And we're going to edit the color map and let's make the mountains dark. Okay. It's almost black but not quite. Let's select the other color, and this one's almost black but it's a little bit lighter than the first. So it's kind of hard to distinguish it. Go to our color production and edit function, and let's delete our filter and the constant. And then we're going to create a fractal node. And let's link those. And we'll increase the roughness and gain and a little bit on the largest feature, giving us higher contrast and more detail. Click OK. So it's kind of hard to see how it's going to look, but let's go to bumps and edit function, and let's add bumps to our fractal node and click OK, and you can see how it's just going to add a nice bumpy texture. Okay, and we're just going to leave it like this. And then next we're going to create a mixed material. And we'll take this material and let's go to landscapes and load the default snow. Let's click on distribution of materials and enable that. And let's click materials to mix, and we also want to edit the function here and add a fractal node and increase the roughness and gain. We're just doing the same things almost. Okay, and you can see how the distribution's working nice here. But let's also click on the cover so you can see the nice edges, and now it looks more like snow is piled on top of the rock. And let's adjust the settings in the influence of environment. Let's increase this a little bit and decrease the slope. Okay, let's go back to mixed materials and let's decrease the snow just a little bit in the mixing proportions. Okay, let's select all of them and select World Standard. And let's save this rock layer as Mountain Rock. And let's change this one to Mountain Snow. Okay. And let's preview what we have so far. We have a little bit too much snow, so let's click on this and let's decrease the mixing proportions. Okay. We're going to move our mountains a little bit closer and take our camera and angle it down. And let's preview that. Okay. Let's go to our terrain. There's a couple of things we want to do. Let's go to the highlights and just disable them for now. And let's go to effects and make a little bit darker. It's absorbing a little bit more of the light, and the snow is opposite, so we want a little bit higher on the intensity. Okay. Let's increase the size of the mountains. Actually, this is already really big, so let's scale it back down. Okay. And click on your main camera and let's move it back a bit. Angle it upward. Click on our sun and move it around. Let's position it right about here. Let's preview that and see how that looks. Starting to look a little bit better. And you can see it's starting to look like mountains and rocks. Okay, let's click on our terrain again and let's go ahead and just decrease our scale a little. And it's actually starting to look really good. So anyway, this is the section on snow mountains, and let's just take a last preview of that. And so here we have our snow mountains. And obviously you can spend some more time and apply the snow differently and however you like. Okay, next we're going to learn how to create rocks with gold veins in them. So let's begin by adjusting our camera view. And let's go ahead and just create a standard rock by using the rock button. And just resize it. And let's adjust our sunlight by moving it to the front. Next, let's select our rock material and we're going to learn how to create veins inside of the rock. So let's go to rocks and select a mixed material. And let's edit the function. And we're going to add a noise node. Let's change the noise to, and we're going to go to our parallel noises and select value gradient. Adjust the scale a bit. And let's highlight this link right here and add a filter. Edit our filter. And we're just going to pop it up a little bit like this. and give it a lot more contrast between it. And our goal is just to make it look a little bit more lined like this. Okay? And you can see it's looking very nice here. It's doing a very nice job. So let's go ahead and edit function. And when we select this one, we're going to click on the copy icon up here and click OK. And we'll double click on our second material. And we'll go to bumps and edit function. And we're just going to click this paste icon. So we have the same kind of a node up here. And let's add a filter to the bump and edit filter. And let's adjust it to something like this. And let's go to our color node. We're going to delete the constant, leave the filter, and let's connect with a link to this node. And inside the color map, let's edit it. And let's set it to something like reddish gold. And then let's edit the next one and let's leave that to a yellow gold. Something like that, okay? And let's make it a little bit more reddish, okay? So here we have our gold color, okay? And under bumps we need to decrease the depth. Okay, probably not down, let's put it up a little bit. So it's just slightly raised, okay? Next, let's select our first material. And we're going to the bumps and edit function. Let's click here. And let's paste our noise node that we previously copied and link it to the bump. And let's add a blender. And we're going to also add a fractal node. And let's link those. Let's increase and adjust the roughness and gain. Okay, click on this link and let's add a filter, edit the filter, and we're just gonna bend this filter so we look something like this. Let's go into our color and edit our color map, and let's load stone gray. Click OK, and let's get rid of our constant and link this filter to the fractal node. Okay, here's our rock, and let's decrease the depth to a negative number. So let's try about 200. Okay, even more. We'll try 400. So it's going to have lines, and what's happening is the gold was kind of going inside of it. Okay, next let's go to highlights, and let's click on this little icon here and let's have some fun with highlights. Okay, let's click on the highlights color tab, and we're going to click on the color map, and we're going to choose colorful and red orange. Okay, now let's click here to add a fractal node, and let's link those together and adjust the roughness and gain and the large features. Okay, so we have some interesting highlights here. Let's maybe increase the intensity and make it a little bit more shiny. Let's go to reflections and let's give it a little bit more reflectivity, and let's go to effects, and we're going to set the metallic reflection to 100%. And just adjust these a little, and now it's looking more metallic. Now let's select this material, material number 2, and let's edit the color map and give it a more reddish, darker color. Okay. Now that's making it look a little bit more metallic right through here. So let's preview this already, and you can see that it's looking like metallic lines through our rock. Okay? So let's just double check our settings, and we're done with that. And that's good. Our highlights, okay. Maybe this not quite so shiny. Our reflection, let's increase the reflectivity just a little bit. And effects, let's just play with these right here and notice your view as you're doing it. And this gray doesn't look that impressive, so let's go ahead and edit it. And I think the reason why is because it's not dark enough, so let's darken it. And it might take quite a bit of adjusting, so just be patient with it until you get it right. Something like this. Okay? Here we have our rock with the dark color and the metallic veins popping up. Let's select this material and edit function. Okay. And we're going to choose this filter right here. There. And let's edit this filter. And we're just going to bend this down until we get a little bit thinner lines. Okay? So we're just tweaking at this point. So on this one we want to edit the function. And let's just edit this filter. Okay? And let's go into bumps and adjust the depth a little bit. So let's preview our mixed material. And here we have what it's looking like. And we can add another mixed material, or else we could add an additional layer. For this tutorial, I'm going to go ahead and add an additional layer. Let's leave it at the default material and OK. And then let's edit the color map. Just right click to edit, and let's give it a reddish, almost orange color. Okay? Now let's go to the environment and change the altitude range and the fuzziness. And now it looks darker. On bumps, let's edit a function and add a fractal node in the bumps tab and adjust our settings just like we have previously and click OK. And let's preview that. And that really gives us a darker look here. And it's starting to look interesting, and it'll look much better if we change all of our materials to object standard. So select them all one by one and select object standard in our mapping. And let's set our scale down and make it a little bit smaller. And once we've done this, let's preview that. And you can see it looks like a rock with some gold embedded into it. And let's just go and do our final adjusting. Let's go to highlights and lower those down all the way, and effects, and just adjust these. Okay? And that looks much better. So let's go to our materials and name them. We'll name this one gold lines, and we'll name, actually this one's overlay, so let's name this dark layer, and this one is gold lines, and this one is gold layer, and this one will be our dark rock, and we'll call the top one golden rock. Okay, so let's go ahead and save it. Now we can delete it and reuse it in the future. Next, let's create a quick landscape with our materials that we've created. Let's add in a terrain and adjust it, and let's go to Edit Object. Let's increase the resolution and click OK. And let's go to the terrain and let's twist it a little bit. I'm not sure I like that, so let's go ahead and twist it the other way. Okay. That looks better. Let's go and load a rock. We have our old rock. Click OK. And let's open our ecosystem and add a rock. Let's increase the density, decrease the scaling, and populate. Let's change the density to -5. Let's populate that. And you'll notice there's rocks, but it's almost like they're indenting. Okay, let's populate that a little bit less density. Okay, let's go to our material. And let's load our gold rocks. Okay. And let's choose an atmosphere. This one's nice. Okay. And let's render that. Here we have our final rendering. And some ideas with having a little bit of fun with this would be maybe adding some dwarves mining a mine, or create a cave with this material. Thank you for watching this tutorial. I'm sure you have some creative ideas of your own, and we'd love to see them on the forum. So please come and visit us on the web at www.geekatplay.com.